Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Jamie Raskin makes a complete fool of himself to the point where Jim Jordan has to correct him in front of the rest of Congress. This is embarrassing. Let's dive in.
Donald Trump defunded the police, and I introduced an amendment to try to restore every single grant that they cut off in severing that in federal investment in local police. My colleagues uttered not a word in opposition to my amendment, but they all voted against it, simply because they're walking the line with Elon Musk right off the edge of the Constitution, because there's no constitutional grounding for anything that guy's doing, but they walked the line behind Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and they just defunded hundreds of millions of dollars from community law enforcement and public safety. So don't give me that lecture about defunding the police, which our side has never supported, but their side is just colluded in right now in terms of what the Department of Justice did. And that doesn't even get into their attempt to dismantle completely the ATF, shut down critical functions in the Department of Justice that protect us from foreign involvement in our elections, to take down the kleptocracy task force, and so on. So I don't want any lectures coming in our direction either. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll reserve my time.
The gentleman from Maryland reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You can try to rewrite history, but it just doesn't work. Let me just read off the Democrat-run cities that did defund the police. And here's the game the Democrats won. All during the summer of 2020, they were saying defund the police. Democrats-run cities all over the country were doing so. And now they say, oh, but we want the federal taxpayers, because crime went up when we defunded the police. We want federal taxpayers to send us money to make up for the cuts we did there, and we spent the money elsewhere. That was the game. If you don't believe me, here's the list. Austin, Texas, $150 million cut. Boston, Massachusetts, $12 million cut. Burlington, Vermont, $1.1 million. Denver, Colorado, $55 million. Eureka, California, $1.2. Hartford, Connecticut, $2 million. Kansas City, Kansas, $42 million. Los Angeles, $150 million. Madison, Wisconsin, $2 million cut. Minneapolis, $8 million. New York City, $1 billion cut that summer. Norman, Oklahoma, $865,000. Oklahoma City, $5.5 million. Philadelphia, $33 million. Portland, Oregon, $16 million. Salt Lake City, $5.3 million. San Francisco, $120 million. Seattle, Washington, $69 million. Washington, D.C., $15 million. And we know about the crime that's happened in this city. And, of course, in the ranking member's home state of Maryland, Baltimore cut their police department $22 million. And now they're saying, oh, make sure the federal money keeps coming. And look, I'm not against some of these grant programs. We'll look at all those. But don't say you didn't cut the defund the police. You did. Everyone knows you did, and you all talked about it, and you cheered it on. You said for the bad guys who harmed the police that summer when you were encouraging cities to cut the police, the bad guys who were you were raising money to bail them out. Your presidential candidate was raising money to bail them out. So you can have all the revisionist history you want. We respect the police who want it done right at the local level. God bless them. So I've not been for defunding them. We're for honoring local police, like this good sheriff, this member of Congress, and what they do day in and day out. That's what this resolution was about. But the other side, they want to come here and start talking about all kinds of things. I didn't intend to. You heard my opening statement. You heard the gentleman's opening statement. But the other side wants to go start attacking things. Okay, fine. We're just setting the record straight. With that, I reserve.
Man, talk about coming in with the receipts. Seriously, just listing off all these Democrat cities that, yes, they did indeed defund their police departments thanks to the Summer of Love riots back in 2020. You know what happened next after these cuts? Police morale went down, crime started to slowly rise, and then it spiked in 2023, and by that point, everyone had realized, yeah, this doesn't work. It never does. It doesn't work because when you have less police officers and less ability to go out and actually help the people of these cities, crime will continue to rise until something eventually meets it and blocks it. That's what happens. It is okay to talk about crime in that way. That's a big reason why Donald Trump has brought the National Guard into Washington, D.C. as we speak. Now, he has certain limitations of powers here, which means that he can only do this for about 30 days. I think we're in about day 10 of all of this. And it turns out the feedback has been mostly positive. As a matter of fact, the only people who seem to be angry about this are rich white liberals and the crazy children that have, for some reason, think that by having less police officers, you are going to encourage less crime. In what upside-down world does that make any sense whatsoever? Hey, y'all. According to new reports, central banks around the world may be buying twice as much gold as official reports suggest. Yeah, you heard that right. Twice as much. And get this, they're bypassing traditional markets and buying directly from miners in Asia, Africa, and in Latin America. That means no US dollars, just physical gold. This shift isn't just symbolic, it could be strategic. They could be looking to bypass traditional Western markets. So if central banks are scrambling to reduce their dollar exposure and own more physical gold, should you do the same? That's where the award-winning precious metals company Goldco comes in. Right now, you could get a free 2025 gold and silver kit and learn more how gold and silver can protect your savings. Just go to politabrawlgold.com. Plus, you could get up to 10% back in bonus silver just for starting up. Go to politabrawlgold.com. That's politabrawlgold.com. Well, apparently, it makes sense in Democrat world, because that's exactly what Jamie Raskin essentially made his whole point out to be. And then he denies his own statements, he denies his party's own platform, and ultimately says that we didn't support the defund the police movement. Who are we gonna believe? You or your lying ears? We heard you, Jamie. We heard you for a couple of years harp on this problem. So the reason he's trying to backtrack now is to save some face, but the reality is we have the receipts too. Okay? So why does he think he can get away with this? And by the way, a little bit of insider knowledge here. After speeches like this on resolutions, before speeches like this and resolutions before Congress, there's something called a caucus meeting. And in these caucus meetings, the Democrat Party will have theirs, the Republican Party will have theirs. And then there are smaller caucuses, and they'll have their own meetings as well. And they will go back and forth saying, okay, I have a speech prepared today. Good. I'm going to say this right around this time. All right. Do you think you can wait until after someone else has said something? Remember, we have to have back and forth. And they will leak information to both sides. Republicans will sometimes tell Democrats, hey, this guy's going to be talking today. What have you got? Well, this guy's going to be talking today. Okay, sweet. Can we work this off? Yeah, sure. That's pretty much how politics works up on the Hill, and I've seen it happen multiple times at the state level as well. And so they knew Jamie Raskin was going to be saying this, and the reason that they give information back and forth is because at this point it's too late to pivot to anything. You know that you're about to go into the chamber and vote and talk and ultimately do nothing and waste taxpayer dollars. But Jamie Raskin got no pushback on this speech. They knew what he had to say, and no one said, don't say that the Democrats weren't a part of the defund the police movement, okay? That's going to make you look like a clown. That tells me that there's something rotten going on in Democrat world, and we see this time and time and time again. Ultimately, the problem isn't that they're Democrats. No, it's the fact that their entire party is run by rich white liberals. They have given up on helping minority status voters, all right? They gave up on helping Latinos. They gave up on helping black voters. They gave up on helping Asians. They just said, you know what? This isn't worth it. This isn't where our money's made. So bye-bye. See you later. And then they took one look at the working man. They took one look at the rural white voters who used to be staunch Democrats about 50, 60 years ago. And they said, yeah, we don't need your support anymore. Besides, all your jobs are going to go away, so we're just going to phase you out of the party. Good luck. Guess what? These people vote Republicans now. All that's left in the Democrat coalition are rich white liberals and their crazy children. And they're even losing the LGBT movement as well to some degree as the log cabin Republicans continue to get stronger and stronger. The reality is, folks, the Democrats have left themselves on an island and they're wondering why they're being set adrift. It's mainly, and it's proven, in my opinion, because Jamie Raskin is saying this nonsense. I could have talked about the complaints about Elon Musk. Well, it's been months since Elon Musk left Doge. Now no one cares. He is no longer someone that anyone wants to bother talking about because he's outside of the business world and gone back to helping out Twitter, which was floundering at the time. They were having a whole bunch of problems, and he's having to put out a ton of fires, quite literally at some point. So this isn't about policing, okay? This isn't about Trump nationalizing the Guard in D.C. This isn't about crime rates. And this isn't about Elon Musk. This is about the political theater that constantly goes on back and forth. And it's about the ability to use your rhetoric and have some self-awareness, of which Jamie Raskin has zero because his constituency does not care about their self-awareness. Democrats have lost their sense of shame. And when you do that, when you play in the mud that long, eventually Republicans are going to start losing their sense of shame as well. And that's actually kind of what's happening. We do not care anymore about certain labels that get thrown at us. We don't care. We're over it. All right? You've tried to use this so long against us that we're tired. We're tired, and we're done playing this ridiculous game. We're now stuck in the mud with the Democrats, who have slowly just made everything worse. And now we are in an interesting era of rhetoric and partisan politics. And it's not going to end well. One side's going to have to admit we've gone too far, and the reality is it's not going to be the Republicans. We have seen how far Democrats are willing to take things. And in the words of Abraham Lincoln, although this has been older than him, turnabout is fair play. It's one of my favorite political sayings, y'all. Well, let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name's Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.